You're welcome back to the second segment of the analysis of Neto's poem, The Grieved Land of Africa. In this segment, we'll be considering the themes, language and style, and the structure of the poem. There are numerous themes that we can derive from the poem, The Grieved Lands of Africa. But time will not permit us to highlight all of them. The first theme from Neto's poem is Africa as land of grief. Africa as land of grief. Africa is a grieved land. She had many awful ordeals in the hands of the European powers who exploited her, maimed her, and cheated her for years. She experienced both ancient and modern slavery. Apart from attack on and exploitation of our resources, there is sufficient assault on the sons and daughters who said no to his domination by the European powers. Africa is crushed for civilization and modernization purpose. So there is this dominant theme of Africa as a land of grief. Another theme is ancient and modern slavery. Ancient and modern slavery. The grieved lands, Africa, experienced the tearful woes of ancient and modern slaves. Millions were taken into slavery on ship to be possessed by another. That is during the period of slavery. There came the actions of the colonialists who crushed flowers in the forest. The same continent which experienced slavery still came to experience colonization. They destroyed the cultural values of Africa, and the wickedness of iron and fire called modernization are all forms of slavery experienced by the land. The theme of ancient and modern slavery is also dominant in this poem. Another theme is hope in adversity. Hope in adversity. No controversy. Those who say no to the European domination were jailed, some were maimed, while some were killed. Even up until now, those who say no to the European domination are exterminated or excommunicated. But in the still laughter, in the victorious voice of lament, and in the unconscious brilliance of hidden sensation, there exist hopes of a brighter future. And this is what is seen in the lives of all the nationalists in Africa. They indicate that none of this mode of punishment will last forever. Majority of these African nationalists were later released from jail, and they became the first presidents of their respective emergent African countries. Examples of these people are Nelson Mandela of South Africa and Agostinho Neto of Angola, the poet. Another theme from this poem is the theme of living. The theme of living. The theme of living. Despite the numerous years of degradation that we Africans still live, the first word in stanza 4 is alive, meaning that in spite of the efforts to subdue Africa and Africans, we still survive as we bubble up in dreams. Africans still live in the perpetual alliance of everything that lives. So come to think of anything in this world, you will find an Africa, at least an Africa, thriving in such situation. This indicates that Africa still matters in the community of nations. Lines 23 to 24 makes us to understand that when they engage in the shout out, the sound of life, shout it, they make known their existence. From lines 41 to 42, they shout it that they are imperishable particles of the grieved lands of Africa. The theme of living. From these pictorial representations, we know you agree with me that we now have popular, successful world leaders, even leaders in the field of footballs. So Africa is living and is striving to live. Language and style. What are some language usages and style that we can see from the poem? The first of them is the use of diction. The use of diction. The language of the grieved land of Africa is simple as it is within the reach of the students or readers. Some group of words conjugate, that is, they go and flow together. For instance, we have the word grieved as it goes with the word of phrase tearful woes. And repeating such words as grieved reveals where the meaning of the poem is hidden. The original writing of this poem was done in Portuguese language. It still maintains its beauty and artistry even when translated into English. So the poem is rich in diction. The next language element here is the use of pathos. The use of pathos. Pathos is a device or figure of speech in which a feeling or there's an evocation of a feeling of pity or sorrow for a cause, a person, a people, or a group of people. The entire poem is pathos. Take for instance, lines 1, 6, and 12 are repeated, saying the grieved lands of Africa. This expresses the level of degradation the lands have suffered. Those that were thrown abroad the ship and the ones jailed to ensure their dreams were shattered, and the ones the poet begins to pity in the poem. So all this and the entire emotion in the poem are the poet's expression of pathos. Another language style in this poem is the use of personification. The title and some other lines of the poem portray the lands of Africa as if they were human beings that could be grieving. Others include such phrases as the wickedness of iron and fire, the victorious voice of laments, the honest blood, as they are all used as if they can stand for humans or they can have the same experience or pass through the same experience as human beings. So there's an extensive use of personification in the poem. The next language usage is repetition. Repetition. In the poem, words are repeated for effect. Sensation, for instance, and sensations are used in lines 7 and 15. The word alive is repeated as mentioned in lines 17 and 18. In, which is a preposition, serves as an anaphor to the consecutive poetic lines. And this is repeated in lines 2, 3, 33, 34, and 35. There are dream and dance repeated more than once in the poem. So the poet also says, they shout out the sound of life. Shout it. So the word shout is repeated in both lines 23 and 24. Finally, the expression in the strong desire of men, line 33, appears as a repetition of in the honest blood of men. So this repetition also makes us to realize another figure of speech that we can call parallelism. So the two phrases have the same grammatical arrangement or structure. That is parallelism. Another language usage in the poem is alliteration. Alliteration. There are copious examples of alliteration in the poem. For instance, in line 3, we have degrading dance. Lines 8 and 9, we have flower forest. And lines 3 and 4, we have sweet seas. All of them add colors to the beauty of the poem. And they also add to the meaning and the understanding of the poem. Finally, let's discuss the structure of the poem, the composition of the poem, or the arrangement of the poem. For better understanding and meaning, the poet arranges his poem in 7 stanzas of unequal line contents. The first 3 stanzas express Africans' griefs. The other 4 stanzas explain that both Africans and their lands live despite the years of degradation. So while the first part, which contains the first 3 stanzas, explains the griefs, for the next part, which happens to be the second part, explains the hope that these Africans had even in the face of tribulation. The first 3 stanzas end in grieved lands and grieved lands of Africa. The last part, stanzas 4 to 7, emphasize that Africans are still living, being imperishable particles. So in conclusion, imperishable particles here maybe means being small countries perhaps, but they live all the same, and they thrive in the different human endeavors. So the grave land of Africa lives even in the midst of subjugations. Here comes the end of our analysis of Neto's The Grieved Lands of Africa. I hope you enjoying yourself, and it is now our evaluation time. Under this evaluation, I seek your opinion as to the coming of the Europeans to the African soil is a blessing. Let me hear your opinion, and I want to assure you that there is no side of the argument you pick that you won't be able to say much, because the poem is a meaning machine on its own. This assignment or evaluation should be attempted by all, typed, and be submitted to my email, which I'm going to give you now. So write it down. My email is michaeloladele84 at gmail.com. michaeloladele84. Write 84 in figure. michaeloladele84 at gmail.com. So the assignment should be submitted latest by next week Tuesday. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.